Okay, Belmont Park, Friday, June 8th, 2012. Uh, we did a little Pick3 syndicate on this card that came out pretty well, but I also have some questions on this particular card that I'd like to answer, so I'll go from race to race, and I might put the video on pause as I go back and check the email to refresh my memory on what the questions were on each race. So that way I'm going to try to kill two birds with one stone, recap the day, and maybe answer some questions and point out some things in general about Ability X ratings that I believe I've pointed out before, but I know it's Ability X ratings is probably almost an opposite perspective on horse racing than what most handicappers would usually have. And one of my points is that the perspective of handicapping is what is most confusing because it's intended to keep the player confused and keep the player in the dark and keep the player guessing. I mean, what we're doing here is we're trying to predict the winner of a horse race, and we're on one side as a player, horse player. I don't like to use the term handicapper because I believe the handicapping is already done. First off, with the morning line, the handicapping's done. That's the limit of it, and it's very difficult to do much better, no matter how you might want to redo the handicapping. And then you have everything that you've been told about handicapping or read in books or whatever, or that's stated by experts and thrown out there by whoever is throwing it out there. And at this point in time, I think a good 50% of these people are just racetrack shills, and their main job is to misdirect you on behalf of the racetrack. And we're players on one side, and the racetrack is on the other side. That's who we're playing against. I feel it's important to identify the other player that you're actually playing against. We're not playing against the other people in the grandstand. We're playing with them. We're one of them. The party that we're playing against is the racetrack itself. The racetrack assembles the races. The racetrack controls all of the information that there is to be had, except for Ability X rating, having to do with the race. The racetrack controls all of that. The racetrack hires the touts and the shills and the handicappers and the experts and the people that get out there on the video feeds and tell you, hey, he's been running pretty well lately, so I like so-and-so number 6. And, that's pretty much to attempt to direct you in your betting, so that way they know how you're betting, who you're betting, and what you're going to think of whatever record they stick out there. They know pretty much how you're going to add it up and what your perspective is going to be on it. So this helps as they assemble races and manage to stick in horses that are able to win the race, but you can't. So this is what the game is. This is what it's about. And in playing the game, I think it's best if players recognize that fact, at least, that the racetrack is betting against you. I mean, the racetrack is betting full tilt boogie every race there is, and they want to win, and they don't mind. They don't mind if the public wins half the races on the first and second choice. I mean, first, second choice, half the races. There you go. That's for you guys. You guys over in the grandstand, you can take those 5 and have fun. But see, we want to win on the other 5. That's our stuff. We don't like you messing around with it either. So we find that you're catching on, betting our horses. We're gonna see if we can throw a wrench in your gear somehow. So that's my take on horse racing 2012. I didn't always have this take, but I have come to this in the last 5 or 6 years since I've been able to look at the races in the perspective of ability, and this is the only conclusion I can draw. You know, it's so obvious to me at this point. You know, it's ridiculous. I don't see why I couldn't have seen it so plainly before, except before I was pretty much had handicapping to work with. I mean, I've been an analyst for a long time. I like to draw that distinction that I am an analyst, not a handicapper. I don't like to be called a handicapper, although, you know, most people call me handicapper just because everybody's supposed to be a handicapper that plays horses, but I'm an analyst, and I think being an analyst is a superior way to go about it. You know, I think handicapping is pretty pedestrian, and I think it's pretty damn limited too, and it's not very precise, and you know, I find it's built on a lot of assumptions and arrogance, but that's my opinion. But anyway, to get into the first race with Ability X ratings, what we see is, and also I'll first off once again point out that the Ability X rating simple pick in red here at the top of the chart and the key horse in orange at the bottom of the chart are not my selections. I may frequently bet one or the other, but they're not my selections. I mean, I may wind up betting them if they seem to appear to be in good shape to win the race, or I feel that they have just as much chance to win the race as anybody else in the race. I often will make a betting decision and includes one of them. But they are strictly mechanical selections made from the ratings themselves, made on the basic fundamentals of the lower rating is better. That's a generality. The key horse is made on that. It is the lowest rating on the bottom half of the chart every time, all the time. And it's just that it's a figured to be a good rating in general for the race. It might be, it might not. You know, you'll find races where, yeah, that key horse doesn't have a chance. But you know, once you understand the numbers and what the numbers are telling you, you know, you can start to discern whether the key horse, simple pick are actually a good bet. But that's what the whole thing is about. The entire deal is about you becoming able to discern what is or is not a good bet. And if you cannot discern that, perhaps the best betting decision is pass the race. So that's what it's about. That's the whole point of it all. And after 5 years of working with Ability X ratings, what I'm most proud of is that the simple pick and key horse win consistently. Each of them will generally win about 20% of the races. Both together will win about 40% of the races. That's close to the same consistency as the morning line favorite and second choice. So I think that is an amazing thing for two strictly mechanical picks. No handicapping, no consideration, no nothing. No knowledge of horse racing applied, other than the simple pick is the fast early speed horse, and again a low rating for that early speed, the lowest rating for that early speed. That is the simple pick. That's the criteria of the simple pick. And you want to bet a fast horse, you know, that's got theoretically a good ability, then that's the simple pick. There you go, boom. You know, you want a decent bet that will consistently win, and you don't know anything about horse racing, and you don't want to know anything about horse racing, but you want to play. Okay, yeah, play the simple pick, play the key horse. You know, you'll win a couple of races. Now, if in doing that you get a little curious, and then you get to a point and say, hey, I want to know something about horse racing, because it seems like if I knew a little bit, you know, maybe I could win a little more. or understand when these guys will win, they'll lose. That's what it's about. That's the design of Ability X ratings. It is designed to give you something to work with if you know nothing about horse racing, or if you're an expert or anywhere in between. You've got something to work with and work from, and you can learn as much as you want to with that. And you know, you've always got something to work with and something to learn from. And the interesting thing about it is there is no handicapping. There's no speed ratings to it. There's no time. There's no nothing. I mean, you know, all you have is this ability rating, the horse's early speed last in the morning line, basically. And the surprising thing is that's pretty much all the information you need. And in 5 years of Ability X ratings, I think I have proven that all of the other information overload that you get in form, regardless of who publishes it, is pretty much just a waste of ink and paper. It's not necessary. It's not needed. It doesn't do anything. Now, people might think it does something, but it doesn't really. You know, when I can reasonably well bet horses from just this information and not lose my shirt and maybe actually be ahead, you know, and not use any of that, you know, that's got something, that says something to me anyway. You know, I mean, there was a time when I thought, gee, you know, really it's best if a horse is raced in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Nah, it doesn't make any difference. You know, what makes a difference is whether the horse is in condition today or not. You know, and all you got to do is look at the horse, and you can tell. And if you're not very good at that, practice that for about a month or 2, and you'll get pretty good at it in that amount of time. You know, but once you get a grip on that, that's all it takes. Look at the horse. Hey, that horse is in condition. That horse is sharp. Look at the horse in the post-parade and the warm-up. Notice I didn't say paddock, but look at the horse in the post-parade and warm-ups, and you can get to where you can see a sharp horse out on the track. So it doesn't matter when that horse raced last time, he's sharp today. He's ready to race. So, you know, it's like there's many factors that fall under that same thing, and they're just not needed. They don't do anything. The buyer speed rating is the other one that I can think of offhand that is just next to useless. I mean, the old speed rating in the old racing form and track variant, you know, that everybody laughs at now. And talks about how silly and useless it was 35 years ago, and all this, the buyer speed rating has always been equally useless as that old racing form speed rating and track variant. All of the same silly assumptions and everything else you find in the buyer speed ratings. So the main thing with buyer speed ratings is that it assumes a variant in the track service, and that is not where variant is. If you work with Ability X ratings for a while, you'll start to notice that. But anyway, let me climb off that soapbox and get to the first race here. The first race, we have a simple pick. It's a very low rating. It's a 1 mile on the dirt race. The simple pick in this race is very much lower than par, and also very much faster than par in early speed from the last race, and a 2-to-1 favorite in the morning line. But when we've been using Ability X ratings for a while, we get to a point where we're pretty sure a lot of times that 97 early speed is a little too fast. If the horse's rating is down here around 144, 150, you know, 130 something, the key horse is 130 something, 84 early speed last, very slow. I'm sure this number 1 can pick it up and probably run the same rating at par early speed of 90 for this distance. Uh, but that being said, if number one does that, runs a 90, and the rating stays the same, which is likely, good low rating, you know, a good performance, but not much run in the stretch. Same thing up here. And the faster number 9 goes, and number 9 might have to go pretty fast today early to get in a good position. And the faster that horse goes early, the less gas it has in the stretch. That's where that 144 will really kick in if number 9 has to really run early. But everybody likes speed. Everybody's speed crazy. You know, it's 2012. Everybody that has anything to do with horse racing is speed crazy. Speed is very much overvalued. It's admired and loved by many. So, you know, the racetrack says, hey, if we got a fast horse there, we should put him down 2-1. The public will probably think, you know, the horse really has a great chance of winning. So, hey, that's what the racetrack's job is for the morning line, is to put down what the public perception is expected to be. The public will love this horse because it's fast. Okay, 2-1, that's an accurate morning line. So, but we, having worked with AbilityX ratings for a while and understanding that the important thing in horse racing is the execution for the distance. How does this horse execute this 1 mile on dirt? 1 mile. A one-turn mile. So we understand a mile is different from 7 furlongs. It's different from a mile and 16th, a mile and 40 yards. It's different from 6.5 furlongs and 6. Distance makes a big impact. And that's another thing you never hear any handicappers talking about distance. Other than, well, he's going longer, he's going shorter, he cut back, you know, he's cutting back today, whatever. You know, but not very much on distance, really. And that's what it all is. I mean, that's this early speed, you know, basically for this kind of ability, this kind of early speed condemns this horse at this distance, you know. That's pretty much all I can say. I mean, the horse has got to run even faster than this, probably, to be able to hit the wire in front of everybody, just going on momentum, because that's all he's got in the stretch is momentum. And so he probably even needs to go faster than that early, and you know, that'll handicap him from having this kind of momentum in the stretch. So, you know, I mean, I'd really like it if it was 100 or 102 early speed and 144. Then I think, hey, you know, this guy might be able to get out there far enough, or he might just be able to, you know, coast to the 3/8 pole, you know, because these other horses aren't that fast, so he might just be able to coast to the 3/8 pole and have some run in the stretch. But you know, this isn't a very good combination, and so I can fairly well dismiss this simple pick because I've got 4 par runners in this race, and these 4 cover from low early speed to early speed on the higher side, but not too high for a mile. And then I've got number 6 in here that's kind of right in the middle, and number 2, he's in the middle early speed wise, and he's got a little more run in the stretch than number 9, so that 189, 187, the number tells you this horse has some run in the stretch. These 2-0 numbers here for these 4 horses tell you this horse is going to run or be able to run under power from the gate to the wire, all the way 1 mile under power. So he's going to have some energy right there at the wire, or 40 feet from the wire, all the way through. He's going to be able to run under some power. He's not going to be coasting anywhere. He's not going to be lugging in. You know, he's going to have some run all the way. So that number tells you. So we got 4 of them. So with 4 of those, and they're all fairly close to the prime early speed for this distance. And then we got two other ones that are close. We don't have a whole lot of room for either this simple pick or this key horse because both of them have low ratings that are so low they suggest that this horse is not going to have a lot in a stretch. So we can reasonably, in this race, with the field that we've got, we can reasonably just dismiss both those guys. Now, maybe the key horse more so, or the simple pick more than the key horse, but you know, the key horse actually has some potential for, you know, doing a little bit of a turnaround, a little form reversal here, and especially in the number one post position, breaking out of that gate and getting gone, and we're all shocked and surprised, and he might run around a 150, but early speed around 92, and that might be the plan today. That might be what's going on, but I mean that's what number one will have to do to have a shot at this race, just to have a shot. But we can take a look at number one out there in the post parade and warming up on the track, and we can see if it looks like, hey, the stable's really acting like they got something up their sleeve. They're really looking like they're trying to win this race. The horse out there warming up like he's going in a Kentucky Derby. Him and the jockey are working together real well. The horse looks sharp in the post parade, you know, and great condition, all that. Well, you know, if those things add up, we might have a bet there. But if they don't, we can probably dismiss the key horse also. Which brings us to the main body of horses that we have here. This 4-horse group. All of them right around par. Some of them a little on the quick side. One of them a little on the slow side. But then again, hey, we could be looking for that form reversal from number 5 too. But as it turns out, all we really want to do, if we're playing the pick 3, is we want the contenders for the win. That's what we want. We want to put in whatever we feel is a sound contender for the win. And the interesting thing is where the ability is almost very close to the same on all of them, the odds have a big variance. So my thinking and way of looking at things is that this number 8 at 20 to 1 almost has as good a chance to win this race as any of the other 3 here. You know, but his odds are way too high at 20 to 1. Now, if he's about the same as another 4 or 5 horses, I mean, why aren't his odds at 4 to 1 or 3 to 1 or something like that? You know, why don't we have 5 horses in here at 3, 4 to 1? So, you know, that's what attracts me. Is like, hey, I've got an ability here in number 8 that he could win. He's real close in there. He's part of this 4-horse group, and his odds are 20 to 1. Well, you know, that's fairly elementary. But just on that, you know, that could be a just as good a reason to bet on number 8 as anybody would have to bet on number 9, just because it's 2 to 1. Hey, it's the favorite. Let's go bet. You know, is that a really good reason by itself? But if you're looking to fortify that a little bit, you can look a little further and say, hey, well, is there one of these 4 horses here, this 4-horse group, or one of the other 2, the secondary pair there? Does one of them have an edge? Does one of them have an edge on the other ones, you know? And we see by experience that the real edge in horse racing, most of the time, is the ability to run that par race, that par execution, to run under power from the gate all the way to the wire, and do it at a good early speed and from a good position, you know, and run that good full run. That is an edge on the other horses if they aren't that good at that good full run. So, but hey, we got 4 of them again. Brings us back to 4 of them at a good full run. But if we keep thinking like that, we can come to the fact that number 6 out of the 4-horse bunch is the closest to that part run last, closest. So, uh, if he was pretty close last time, he might get even closer today. But if we thought, well, who's likely to get right on it today, really, out of this bunch, we'd have to come back to number 6 again because number 6 was closest from the last race. And if the trainer understands how close that horse was to that good par execution in the last race, if he's aware of that, then he might know the right adjustments to make today to maybe be a little closer and hit that execution well enough to win this race. And I think that's what happened, really, myself. I mean, that's, it happens frequently enough to where I think it's a thing. The trainer is looking at the last race. The trainer's making the decisions for today from the last race. A lot of people say, hey, John, why did you just do the last race? Well, the last race is the most important race in the bunch. The last race is the race that the trainer made any decisions for today from the last race. Now, that decision may have been, we're going to do everything we can to win. The decision might have been, well, we need a couple more workout races. We need to see if we can get out of the gate a little quicker, see how that goes. That may have been the decision. But whatever the decisions for today are, they were made off of the last race. So that seems simple enough to me, and I like to try to put that to use in Ability X ratings. So there it is in the first race, and we have a $15 winner. Now, if I feel like doing that kind of analysis, I will. I can, and I often do. If I feel like, I just don't want to do all that work today. I don't want to get that involved. I got a headache. Whatever. I feel like taking a day off, but I still want to go bet and make some money. Well, then it's just a simple deal. Let me just take. I don't want to think about nothing. Let me take a simple pick, and I'll just bet in progression. So that I can make my whatever today, and I'm just going to use money to do it with. The secret weapon. I'll just bet in progression. So I don't really care, which one wins, which one loses, how many win, or how many. I really don't give a damn. As long as I can get at least one double-digit winner in one day in the same card, just one. Just give me one double-digit winner, a proper size bank, and I can make $100 or $200 or $300 or $400. As long as my bank is properly sized for whatever that amount is I'm trying to make, I can just bet with progression. I'm using a method that gives me consistent winners, meaning at least between the start of the day and the end of the day, I'll have a winner or two. And I can depend on it. So, hey, just bet it in progression. Here we go. Simple pick. Let's go. One wins for $15.20. Another one wins for $8. That's 22 of them. And then we got another one here for another $6.50. So, what is that? $28, $29. 10 races. If we bet 10 races, $2 a piece. That's $20. 29. That's about 33% profit. I think that's decent for most any business. But, even without the other two winners, if I just got one double digit, with a decent bank, I can just bet progression and set my goal per race and make sure I get my money back that I lost and win whatever I want to win. As long as it's not something inconsistent that I'm using, Simple pick key horse, or maybe I'll just, give it a quick rundown. Number 6 is closest to par. Bang, there you go. There's my pick. Let me do that one. And in the second race, the first time starter over 200 is about 50%. This one's 2-1. Too bad, but over 200 for the first time starters is still 50%. So it's like, well, I got a 50-50 shot of this horse winning, and the simple pick up here, fairly good rating for the distance. I like a horse with a little more run on this 5 furlong shorter distance. The 3 is pretty close to it. And at least better than the two. So it's like, hey, give me those two in a pick three, or maybe I'll just pass any win betting because I just don't like 2 to 1. So you know, you just pass that. What do I want to make on this race? $50. So I'll just carry it over to the third race. No big deal. There's races coming every 20, 25 minutes, so you know it's not a big deal. But you know, if I want to play the pick three, you know, I'll put these four in, this 4-horse group. I'll put these two in, and maybe I even put all the first-time starters in just to make sure, because you know I always think the horses you know the least about are the ones that beat you. So you know, maybe throw those four in too. I mean, what's the big deal? If we went four in this race and 5 in this one, and then here's one I can single, but you know, just to be safe again, let me throw these 4 first-time starters in. That's another 5. So it's where was I? 4 times 5 is 20 times 5. That's 100 times 2 is $200 for that pick 3. It pays $764. I don't see anything cost prohibitive about that. Because I know that, you know, even though I got 2 to 1 favorites here, I maybe got a 5 to 1 horse here for this one. This one will get by most anybody. This one right here, so you know that's going to help me out, and especially if I single it, you know. But even like, hey, I'll throw the 4 first-time starters in, but you know this one's better than either the simple pick or the key horse for this race. And the reason is because this horse is dead on par. Dead on par, 321.97. That's what that horse's rating would be if we just rolled back that early speed to 97 from 99. 321.97. 320.97 is 340.98 is 360.99 is 380.100 is 400.101. So, you know, that is a par rating, exactly on par, you know, and it's one of the winningest ratings there is. But it's like, hey, I could single that if I wanted to, I guess, you know, but I don't have to take that risk even. So I don't see anything cost prohibitive about putting $200 into a pick 3 that's $764. You know, but if I want to single it, I got what? 4 times 5 is 20, times 1 is 20, times 2 is $40 for the pick 3. I don't think that's very much out of line because, you know, even at putting 200 into it to win it, if it makes sure that it's won, good, because I get the 200 back. So what difference does it make? And I get another 564 with it. And this simple pick is one of a 4-horse group again. You know, I've got a 320.95 here, a little on the slow side, but I'd have to hope one of these guys might be able to take care of that one. But I got 3 of the same rating as a simple pick, so, you know, and an extra one just 2 points away, so it's like, hey, reasonably safe to go with that 4-horse group. And again, even with 5 here, 4 times 5 is 20, times 4, $80 times 2, 160. That pick 3 pays 714. So I don't really see, you know, where it's cost prohibitive for the pick 3s to put in up to 4 and 5 horses in every race, as long as you've got some potential for a long shot to be in one of those legs and win one of those races. If you got some reasonable potential for that happening, it's probably going to happen. So it's not a problem to me. Of course, now if you can single somewhere and it's a clear shot that, hey, we can single, you know, like in this 3rd race, go ahead and do it, you know, because at the worst you'll lose 1 pick 3. And if it gets you to where, hey, I should be more inclusive, I mean, that's the thing, be more inclusive on this bet. It's a fabulous bet. It's a big margin on this bet. Be inclusive, because the racetrack is throwing as many tenders in there as they can, so that you can't cover them. You know, the racetrack is the entity that can cover 6, 8 horses in every race. They can do it no problem. They got plenty of money. You know, you're throwing into a betting pot, and 15% of that, 20% of that is theirs. So they can just reach right in. They got plenty of money to bet these pick 3s and pick 4s, pick 5s, and pick 6s. It's just sitting right there, and it's your money. But once it goes in that pot, hey, you know, hey, we'll have a couple piece here. And sure, we win them. You know, it's the attitude. Hey, the racetrack, they're inclusive. You say 5 horses have a shot in this race? Well, put them in. You don't find them guys chiseling tickets, you know. And that's what I call it, chiseling tickets. You know, it's like, hey, you know, I don't want to bet more than $32. Well, you know, pick 3 might pay $7,000. But, you know, especially when the racetrack can put in, we get to this in a while here, in a few minutes. But when the racetrack can put in a 50-to-1 into that pick 3 to make sure that we got a big pick 3, woo, you know, you got to understand that. And we'll get to that here in a minute, too. But, you know, here we got in the 5th race, moving on to the 5th race. The question was, how could I come to the 5 winning this race? Now, there's only one pair. One pair here, number 11, number 6. The rest are single ratings. Nobody's paired up. And 11 and 6 both are kind of out of whack for this distance, which the par is 175.90. In this particular 7 furlongs on the grass, we've gotten a lot of recent information on this particular distance and surface. But, you know, I'm glad you asked me the question, how could you come to the number 5? How could you come to the number 5 in this race? So, that is the question, and I'm really glad you asked it. But, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break right here, and then when I come back, this is going on so long I might just break it into 2 videos. But when I come back, I'll show you exactly how I come to number 5 as a horse in this race that I can single. Because I can fairly well disregard number 6 and 11 as being kind of way up there, especially with this field I got. I got a 190, 180, 172. I got some ratings over 200 that are not too shabby, you know, but nowhere near as shabby as 248 and 244. Even the 244 being at 97 speed again. I mean, 97, that's a little too fast, you know, I think. So I don't think I really have to take this one real seriously, or the number 11. You know, maybe they're going to have plenty of energy in the stretch, but I think they're going to be putting it to use from, 10, 12 lengths back and probably a little too far, because I got some fairly good, decent runners here in this race. So I think I can pretty much toss that pair and single number 5. So let me cut this and continue on.